What's up, everybody? Starting my new series here, Gold to Diamond. I'm going to be coaching myself through Gold to Diamonds. I thought of the series off of the subreddit Summer of School. Post a lot of hate on there. Basically, people always come in there looking for the wrong things. There are tons of guides, tons of free guides out there, how to ward, how to map awareness, all this other stuff. These are great information. However, a lot of people are focusing on champion pools, just wrong ideas how to gain elo. Master Yi jungle is not going to make you a top fucking challenger player, right? All these OP picks, Runeglaive, Ezreal, last patch, there's so many picks in this so-called meta that people try to, copy the pros. I like LCS. I think it's a fun tool to watch. I like to have some buddies in real life that also watch LCS. We have our favorite teams. We rag on each other. I'm a C9 fan. My best friend is a TSM fan. You go back and forth. You give each other little rivalries. That's all fun. However, when it comes to you individually in ranked solo queue, you are not LCS, right? We can all agree there is a LCS meta. However, when it comes down to the lower elos of, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, even diamond to an extent, there's not that meta. That meta does not exist, right? You can climb. Elo boosters use fucking Talon mid, right? You'll never see Talon mid in LCS. Except for fucking high that one time. The thing is, we watch professional sports, or you may or may not watch professional sports, right? You may like LeBron James, aka Bjergsen, right? But you're not going to go out there trying to fucking windmill dunk when you can't even shoot a free throw, right? There are certain checkpoints and boundaries that you have to come across in order to progress. So I'm going to be going through just the basic fundamentals today. This is going to be my first video. I have a couple more plans. I'm going to be going through things right now, coaching myself basically, going through my champion pools, looking at where I can improve, just being self-analytical. Because if you're at 51% win ratio, you can still climb. So basically, I'm going to be going through myself, being very harsh on myself. I suggest you guys follow along throughout the series, do the same thing, and we'll both get to diamonds together, right? So first off, I'm going to go into, it's a little tool I created for myself. It's called the, I named it the ELO Notebook, right? So I'm pull it up on the screen. The ELO Notebook is basically, I used to keep this on a sheet of paper, like a little notebook by my desk. However, I moved it over to a computer form because it's a lot easier to edit and for every patch and stuff like that. Basically, I think Dentist actually did a tutorial on this, the EU LCS coach, and I went ahead and expanded on it a little bit. The killers might be a little overwhelming. It just makes it easier for me to glance at, and I can see exactly what I need to see. So first off, you're going to go ahead and create a champion pool, right? Your champion pools, especially bronze through, diamond 5, I'm going to say as example, does not need to be mechanically intensive. We do not need to see a Zed, Azir, Ahri picks in your mid lane, right? Each of these champions takes hundreds, of games to master. You need to be sticking with the basics here, right? League is a lot like building a house. Ellis says this all the time, I'm sorry, you guys have heard it a million times. You need to have certain things in order to progress to the next step, right? It's not like once you're gold, your foundation is done, right? Your foundation could have been done at silver. It could still be working in platinum. It's just certain checkpoints that you have to do. You have to be good at CSing. You have to know map awareness, warding, matchup experience. All these certain things play a factor in gaining LO. So I'm gonna go through just my champion pool. If there's anything I think is a little bit too mechanically intensive, and just go through. Wukong, Shyvana, Ani, they're pretty basic champions. Vi, Evelyn, Nidalee here is a little mechanically intensive. I have some games played on her. I typically tend to stick with these two though. Rarely will I go this deep into my champion pool. If you just look at the top row, these are the champions I'm going to be playing more than 75% of the time. These other champions only come up in certain instances where these first champions are banned, right? This is like you go to the sheet and you go down and it's a process of elimination. If Oriana is not available, I'm gonna go to Annie. Thresh isn't available, I'm gonna go to Annie. You know, you learn matchups and counter picks and stuff is not important at this elo. You can shit roll a lane all by yourself. It doesn't matter if it's a counter matchup or not. I've seen counter matchups just go to shit. It really doesn't matter. These are gonna be your bans, right? These bans are not based on what's OP in the meta. Okay, these bans are posted on Summer School. I know somebody updates them, or League of Legends every patch. Just the highest win rates of champions, right? Sivir, Ahri, Janna, they're all like around 50, 54, you know, 50, 53 to 54% win ratio. That's why they're bans, right? I usually always ban Vayne. Vayne's a high mechanically challenged AD carry. You don't want your AD carries tumbling into the enemy team. You don't want them, you know, dying instantly. It's more of a ban for your own safety than it is a ban because she's OP. I want you to get the term OP out of your head. There's no such thing, right? There are counters to every single OP thing on the meta. Here's a little timer thing I set up. If I ever get if I don't know the timer of something off the top of my head, I'll just glance over here, type it into chat. This little hand stretching exercise I recommend you doing every hour on the hour. It can be done in Champ Select. I usually just do it in Champ Select after I've locked in my picks, got my rune mastery set up. It's a great thing to do. Playlist. Tips for different roles. I just went through and as I was playing, you know, if I saw a certain instance where I did something wrong, I just take a note of it. Or if there's something that I could blatantly do almost every game, I put it down on here. Need to improve. These are things I try to improve on. I always catch myself not doing these, right? So I put it down here every single time, right? Chime summoners. You see a flash in bot lane, just type F, you know, F Leona bot. You don't even have to time it out for the next 5 minutes. You don't have to do the calculations, anything like that. Just give your jungler, give your other laners an idea of what's going on in your lane, right? You need to be vocal, talk to each other. Learn from streams. Basically, these are just little things I notice on streams. You want to be learning proactively, right? You don't want to be copying. Copying can get you an A on a test, right? You can sit there and copy your best friend, make an A on the test. Do you know the material? No. Okay, so you don't need to copy everything. Copying is a good way to get a good grade, maybe, in some scenarios, if you're taking the same test, right? For example, AP Runeglaive Ezreal last patch. Bjergsen, you know, Voyboy, a lot of top tier LCS pros, ex-pros were playing at mid lane. They were winning a lot of their games. You know why? Because they understood the tests, right? They had taken all the tests before that. They had studied up. They knew their material. They went into the tests. They made an A because they earned it. Sitting at Silver 5 ELO, if you pick up Runeglaive Ezreal, you're glancing over at your neighbor and copying their exam. The thing you didn't realize is that your exam is not the same exam as theirs, right? You just copied all of the answers down to the wrong exam. Okay? You need to focus on learning yourself before learning your lane, learning your own champions, learning your own pool before you try to copy somebody else's test. On the second tab of this, I have a match history, right? I have one explanation of the lane, the role I was in, the match history. If I want to pull up this certain game, I just copy and paste it in, and I can go to it. I put this AFK tab in there just for a realization of like self-rage, right? Because we all get those games where people go AFK and you want to blame them. This is just a little tab so I can see, you know, oh, you know, we had an AFK and we lost that game, right? In League, there's about 25% of the games that you're always going to win, no matter what. You could fucking throw. You could be 0-8 and still win the game because your team is a lot better than their lane opponents. They know what to do. They're going to carry you, right? 25% of the other games, though, it's just going to be a shitstorm for your team. The other team's going to be in that scenario. They have the better teammates. They outclass you. There's nothing you can do, right? It's the 50% in the middle. That's the part that's going to gain you ELO. If you win all those 50% of the games, then you're at a 75% win ratio. If you win half those games, then you're at a 50% win ratio. That's the important part. This is just dates, how often. Now here the important part, in the match history, you want to stay self-critical, right? if you're bot lane, there's a couple times, it's best to let yourself cool down a little bit before you write these, because there are a couple times in here where I actually like blame my teammates, like ADC 1-7, ADC. I was on tilt right here, right? It's very easy to look back on match history. There's no way my ADC lost me all these games. There's something I could have done in these games to win. Or to at least help out my bot lane, right? You have to be self-critical in all of this, right? You can't just blame your teammates. You have to be the bigger person, take responsibility, realize that there's stuff that you can do to win these games. Okay, so this is my ELO notebook. I think it's a very valuable tool, at least a good reference guide. It keeps you from playing a lot of obscure champions that you saw on the, LCS or some stream or whatever. This is going to be dependent on you. I don't recommend you just copy my champions, whatever like that. You can gain ELO with any champion you want. Just the rate at which you gain those, the MMR and all that stuff is going to depend based on what champions you play. I like easy to learn, hard to master champions, really aggressive champions, stuff like that. The next thing I want to go to is going to be Championify. Okay, Championify is a great app. Basically, you download it. It's going to set up custom item sets into your league client, right? It's going to give you the highest % win ratio of all the items, what skills to max, all this other stuff. It's very good when you're learning a champion to have Championify installed. It's going to tell you what skills most people max, what they build first, all this other stuff. The downside is it's not going to give you matchup dependent build orders or anything like that. That's going to be self-learned. I'll be talking about that in a different video. For right now, this is just very good if you want to learn a champion, know kind of what items that they want to build, so you're not wasting all that time and trying to choose an item. Okay, moving on to the meat and potatoes of this fucking video. My self-analytical win rate, champion pool, all this other stuff, right? If you look through my past couple of games, there's some champions on here, 43% win ratio, 40% win ratio. I really didn't take rank seriously until about, I don't know, whatever that yellow notebook started, right? That's when I made the conscious decision that I was gonna get better at this game. If you go into my champions tabs, LS says this all the time. It's like, why do you have, 44 fucking champions played, right? Look at all these. Look at all these 0 wins. Look at all these 0 wins. 27 to 44. This is, maybe 20 games of just losses, right? I played these champions that I had never played before, that I saw on LCS, Zillion, Kalista, all these high mechanical Rengar champions that I just saw some streamer play, tried to emulate them. You need to focus on your core mechanics, right? Your core champion pools. Wukong, 80%. I'm trying to get him up. He's my off role. He's my top lane. I primarily main jungle. I'm sticking with Evelyn, 76, and Vi right now, 64. I don't have a lot of games played right now. That's one good thing about this season. I've been playing since Season 3. If you look back here, Shyvana, most played. I have a decent understanding of Shyvana. But if you look down, I'm trying to play Lee Sin, sitting at, gold, silver. It's, Lee Sin, at least. These high mechanical champions, I bet you if I played something else, I would have better win ratio, have better ELO, all that other stuff. You gotta be self-critical on yourself. If you look at my stats, right, going to rank solo, sitting at 4.2 deaths. This is the only fucking thing I care about on this page. I don't care about kills, I don't care about assists. KDA, contribution per kill, that's a nice stat, right? This is the only thing I'm focused on, right here, 4.2. This is the only fucking thing that matters to me on this page. LP doesn't matter to me, win ratio kind of matters to me, but the deaths, that's going to be the bread and butter. This is how you're going to improve. If you want any statistic in the game to tell you how you're going to improve, it's your deaths, right? If you can roll 15, 2, and 19, then you're doing something right. If you have games where, you know, you fed your fucking ass off, I'm sure I have had a few. 3 and 7, 16-9. It doesn't. The 16 kills does not matter in this game. All that matters is the 9 deaths. 0, 8, 13. You know, that's a support game. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're support or anything. Your deaths should not exceed. I set a personal limit to strive for about 3 to 4 deaths. 5 is acceptable. Above 5, I get mad at myself, right? I'm being self-aware that I've made 5 mistakes in that game that's caused me to lose gold, experience, and I'm not on the map able to make plays. Trading 1 for 1 is not going to be worth it 90% of the time. You want to be on the map, gaining experience over your laner, gaining gold, and having an impact on the game. Nobody wants to be sitting on the bench, right? Everybody wants to be playing in the game. When you're dying, you're putting yourself on the bench for 30 seconds to whatever the death timer is, right? During that time, you can only sit back and watch and hope that your star players on the map are going to carry you. However, if you're on the court, you know, making plays, then you have a chance. Just, you know, be self-aware. All these type of things, it'll help you climb a lot.